Hi, everyone. Welcome to CJoy and Expand podcast. I'm Christian Joy, your host, and this is a podcast about where the imaginal meets the physical, the 5D meets the 3D, the magical and weird meet the mundane. And I wanted to start off this episode with a trigger warning. I do touch into a story. I do write on Substack. I don't get deep into the details in this episode. But just in case you do choose to read that story, the trigger warnings are sexual abuse and child sex abuse. And otherwise, this conversation does touch into real world topics that are happening in our society right now, i.e., the ice raids, and how 5D consciousness fits into all of this whole story. And then at the end of the episode, I talk about how do you get in touch with me, especially if you guys have active nervous systems, activated nervous systems, and need assistance in help regulating your energy, your spiritual, energetic body, or even physical, through Reiki. My Substack subscription comes with free Reiki for paid subscribers. My paid subs is only $7.77 a month, and you can sign up for Reiki as much times as you need and cancel anytime. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Leave a comment, leave a review, uh, leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to this podcast, whether it be Substack, YouTube, watching it on YouTube, watching it on Spotify, listening to it on Spotify, or other podcast platforms. And I'll see you in the next episode. Boys, there are a lot of things going on in the last just few days. I mean, things have been going on since January. And of course, it's June, a month of a lot of fire energy. And wouldn't you know it, the ice raids in LA are coming in hot. And if you guys have been with me for a while, I do love to talk about these real world, and in our spiritual spaces, these would be labeled 3D topics. And I when I started my awakening I would listen to these more mainstream podcasts, spiritual podcasts, and nothing wrong with this, but a lot of them are Caucasian hosts, influencers, etc. And I find that there's something missing to the depth in the conversation because it didn't speak to my experience, my lived experience, my reality. So, and wouldn't you have it, or would spirit have it, or me, because we're all the same, is that I eventually would be here starting my own podcast. I'm over a year in, and using my voice and speaking to people who might need to hear my perspective on things based on the path that has unfolded for me by my soul, by universe, by spirit, by source, whatever higher power you resonate with. So I love, especially over this past weekend, and if you've been following me on Substack, I'm a little bit more in the minute up to the minute updates with what's going on with me. So if you want to follow me on Substack, you're welcome to do so. I do want to say we did a little mini rebrand, and now it's called Field Notes from a Quantum Hypnotist, which I'm loving it. I'm loving the new name that came through, and I was like, this feels right. I'm ready. It feels energetically correct in my soul and my vibration. That it just before So Within Truth Without Will Out, I love the name. I love how clever it was, but it screamed more mystery rather than being upfront. Here I am, and this is my truth. It feels like, not that I wasn't speaking truth before, but oh, um, it felt like oh, like there's something here and it feels mysterious and I don't know what it is, but it sounds interesting. And field notes from a quantum hypnotist feels like no question about it, this is what's being delivered here. So it energetically felt like a coming out of the closet. So that being said, changed the name, rebranded. It's going to be the same stuff. I'm going to still talk about the same thing because I'm going to explain it here in this episode that the 3D, quote unquote, I'm throwing air quotes. You guys should really watch me because I like to throw up air quotes a lot, but I always try to make sure I say them when I'm doing them. There's, there's no separation from the 3D and 5D, and I'll explain in this episode. But back to this past weekend, I always was like, why? There's something for me in this person's message over the years. Yes, this resonates. I love all the love and light and sometimes deep, dark stories and shadows that people get into, but it still did not speak to my story, my lived experience. And the not there's not enough representation of what does it look like outside of the positive. Oh, you got to be positive. Oh, you got to be at high vibration. And it's not even like, oh, we have to be in high vibe all the time. I think some people feel a little bit like they have to represent love and light all the time because they have a platform, because they're using their voice and sharing it with an audience. I'm I'm a Sag at heart, and I'm also a Capricorn. Also, I have a South Node in Scorpio. I'm here to be real, and this is what it looks like in all the ways. So, what do I want to say about all this? So, this past weekend, I got wonderful news from my best friend, and I go into more detail about it in a Substack that will be coming out soon about what had transpired over the weekend. I do have permission to share. And my niece got her win. She had been, trigger warning, she had been essayed by the person who was her stepdad. And this all came to light over like 6 years ago now. And she got her moment in court to shine and tell her story. I wouldn't say shine, but to tell her story and speak her truth after all these years. And I go into the details of the outcome of the trial and how she feels and all that stuff in the Substack that's coming out. She has given me permission to share because we come from the same vein of thought. Like, people need to hear the stories. There's not enough stories of survivors and their wins. And I dare say and use the term manifestation, because I think a lot of people, they don't like to talk about manifestation when it comes to traumatizing topics. But when I look at this particular scenario, and what she really wanted as an outcome, it is a manifestation in this deep, dark experience. So, follow me on Substack. Most of the Substacks I write are free. But if you want deeper, more, I don't know, a lot of great content comes out that's under paid subscription, but most of the stories are free. Like a lot of the content on Substack is free because I couldn't put a price on words that could be healing for other people. So, and in my mind over the weekend, I was like, this keeps coming up. Like the hard, challenging, shitty situations that life throws at us. And finally got it in my brain. Like I knew it, but I didn't have the words for it. And now, after each new experience, we get more information and things start to make more sense. And I start to put two and two together, and I'm like, yes. Like, why do I say all the things that I do? Why do I keep saying that spirituality isn't a look? It's a feeling, an energy, a vibration, something that is felt within. It's a connection. Why do I keep saying that? What was like the purpose of me saying that? And when last weekend happened, or the weekend before, actually, no, this heavy topic came back into our lives. She got her manifestation. And she, and I'm like, how can we think that 5D and 3D are separate? Like, and I did the same thing when I first awakened back in 2020, 2021. And if you're new here, I talk about a lot of spiritual topics on this podcast, a lot of metaphysical things. And in the beginning of and this is when New Age spirituality and the way it was packaged through capitalism and like manifesting and get the life that you want and like the house, the money, the career, the life that you want, it's packaged in a certain way that that's what spirituality looks like. And after a while, I did reject that notion. Like, yeah, those dreams of mine can come true, but what do they always say about spirituality? They say, or manifestation rather, expect that it's coming, but don't expect the way it comes through, how it looks like. You can't expect the way your manifestation will come through. And in spirituality and manifestation, in our capitalism mind framework society, it only showed one look or one frame or one lens of what manifesting looks like. It's all energy. It doesn't have a look. And marketing and marketing, it's not sexy to um, sell spirituality otherwise. And I'm not here to be sexy. If you've ever seen me on live, you can tell I'm not here to be sexy. I'm just here to be real and raw and true. It's, like I show up on the camera and I literally don't it's not that I don't care. It's like my message is more important than the way I look. I used to put the way I look first before my message, and that came with like a lot of lack and anxiety energies of those underneath. And not saying that all influencers or people who create content are like that. I'm just saying that everybody's energetics are different within, unique to their path, their journey. So What is the difference between 3D and 5D spirituality? What is the difference between 3D and 5D? If it's not something that we can see, it's something that we can feel. So, because I love to go back to the basics, you guys, I pulled up a definition of each because you know what? My brain can't keep definitions in my brain. So, here's my notes. So, third dimension, that vibration is dense, material, and physical. Even it being physical is really interesting because when you look at 5-dimensional reality, the vibration is light, expansive, and heart-centered. It has nothing to do with what it looks like. It has nothing to do with the physical world. So what does this mean? Is 5D outside of us? Is 5D somewhere in the future? Are we going to be in 3D for a very long time? No. 5D is something that is felt. It's light, expensive, heart-centered. I even saw that it's also love and unity focused. And we're entering a time where community is going to be very huge. It's starting now through the shadow of our collective. The focus of, okay, so back to the definitions. Focus of 3 dimension is survival, duality, and ego identity. Okay, my friends, let me say that one more time. Survival, duality, and ego identity. If you are a spiritual woo-woo girly and you're still in a survival mindset, I'm sorry, my friend, but you're still dipping toes into 3D vibration. No shame. We can't heal what we are not aware of. And when I looked this up, I was like, this is like giving me words for what I knew, but I could never explain before. Because there's a lot of gurus and folks out there who have platforms and very spiritual, and there is this undertone of lack or survival, lack mentality. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for having a platform and being up there, quote unquote, unhealed. Okay. Everybody's technically, everybody is journey. Let me put it this way. Everybody's journey is technically the same because of the energetics within. The energetics doesn't have a look. So their experience vibrationally will be this certain vibration. It just has a different look to it. Does that make sense? Like, say a person who has manifested a large income, but this comes back to my person who won the lottery analogy. The day before they won the lottery to the day after they won all that huge jackpot, they are still energetically the same. They look different, but energetically the same. And this is just the journey that some people take. And whether they're healed, whether they're still walking around in their wounds, I don't know. I don't know them. So I can't speak to what they're going through. But we always know our truth. Our truth is what we can know more intimately, more deeply. You'll never know an intention of someone else's. You might have like an intuition about it, what have you, but I always like to go back like to why So there was an influencer on Instagram I followed for like 2 seconds, but she said something that was very important for me to hear. And she's like, I don't know why they do X, Y, and Z. I don't know why they feel like they have to do or behave or think a certain way. It's none of my business. And I felt that was so important here. It's none of my business. I'm not that person. I don't live in their shoes. I don't have their lived reality. It's none of my business. So what is my business? Myself. Focusing on myself, my energy, my cup, my capacity to stay informed, my nervous system capacity so I can take care of others. Your nervous system is the most important thing. So before I trail off into other topics, let's go back to the differences between 3D and 5D. So the focus of 3D is survival, duality, and ego identity. Even last year, I was still going through ego stuff, and we will always go through ego stuff as long as we're human and we have our monkey brains. We will always have ego to learn from, and not to demonize ego. Ego has always been there to keep us safe. It's a monkey mind survival mechanism. It is what it is. This is what we're working with, and we work with what we got. And spirit, universe will, God, what have you, will come in and meet us with the tools and information that we need in each moment. And just trust that. So that's the focus of 3D, survival, duality, ego, identity. The focus of 5D is unity, intuition, and co-creation. Unity, intuition, and co-creation, which I am so excited about because we're stepping into an era of community, and that includes unity, and then we got the intuition going on with the Pluto and Aquarius. It's like thinking differently. We got the North Node in Pisces going on. That's more intuition, and then co-creation, community. We're naturally progressing into a 5D consciousness, whether we realize it or not. You don't have to know it to be in the vibration. You just feel it. Sometimes, like what I said, sometimes I just know it's true, but I don't have the words to explain why. That's intuition. Okay. So the differences in experiences from 3D to 5D. In 3D, the experience is I am my job, I am my trauma, I am my success. Oh my God, we're getting away from physical external world identities. And 5D in comparison is I am a soul having a human experience. That's so good. And then as I'm reading this, I'm like, wow, I do spend a lot of time in my 5D, even though I've been like haven't manifested everything I've wanted so far. I am still experiencing a 5-dimensional reality. It's a feeling, it's a vibration, it's an energy, it's a frequency. Back to 3D. 3D is about linear time, past, then present, then future. In comparison, time is non-linear. The present moment, and you guys know I riff on this so many times in the like past million episodes, and I always talk about my channel or gate of now in human design. I always talk about the present moment. 5D consciousness. Time is not linear. The present moment is where creation happens. Yes, yes, and yes. This is where we heal from our past, and this is where we take action for our future, for a different future, for our collective future. Oh my God, I'm so glad I looked this up. I'm so excited. I'm getting excited just reading off this description and understanding the difference between 3D and 5D dimensionality. 5D does not mean you're going to be in a mansion on in Maui with your millions of dollars. Granted, it could, but you could be 5D and not have all those things, like me. Let's see. 3D experience. Power often is seen as external, money, status, and control. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, this one is good. Versus 5D, power is internal. And this is the shift that we've been seeing. If you've awakened or been awakened before 2020, 2021, if you awaken the same time as I am, if you're awakening now, empowerment has been a huge conversation in the spiritual communities. Power is internal, and your energy shapes your reality. And I've given many examples on older episodes, but my favorite examples is your emotions. If you have anxiety, you're going to see everything from an anxious lens. If you are fear-ridden, you're going to see like everything's is out to get you. So no shame. It's just something to witness within you and to move through. Now, next line, 3D. Emotional states are often driven by fear, scarcity, and judgment. And then 5D, in contrast, emotions are honored as guides, and love is the default frequency. And then last line for 3D, relationships shaped by need, hierarchy, or contracts. Oh, this is so good because I know the next line is not going to say hierarchy because I'm totally like, I'm so over hierarchy. And it says, relationships in the 5D are conscious, soul aligned, and energetically sovereign. Isn't that so delicious, like hearing all those things? I'm over the moon about all of it. So, in overall broad perspective, in the 3D, things feel heavy because we think we are alone and life is happening to us. And versus 5D, life flows through and with you. You are connected, and you remember that you're healing the self heals the collective. Oh my god. I'm like screaming. This is what I've been talking about for like ages. When you heal yourself, it means everything because when you heal yourself, you're healing the collective. You are the collective, my friend. You are a part of the collective. You are a part of the collective. And like and you know what? I'm giggling because I'm like, it took me a long time to figure that out, but you know what? I'm here. And I was just like, while I write, sometimes like truth bombs like drop in, and I'm like, wait a second. You are the collective, I'm the collective, we are part of this soul soup together. I am the collective. Everybody talks about collective like it's something out there, but I am literally the collective. You are literally the collective. Isn't it so silly how our human minds like to trick us into separation and division and otherness? It's just, what a silly program, honestly. So, now that we've defined 3D and 5D consciousness, that it's not a particular look, it's something that you could step in every any time of the day, in every way. Sometimes you'll be guided in your journey to be pulled into the 3D so that you can recognize the 5D consciousness that you are stepping onto on a continual basis, which is like the medicine of this podcast episode for myself, because when I read these, I didn't actually read these off before I decided to share these definitions with you guys. So as I read them, I was like, wow, I am actually doing the thing. It just took me a moment in a moment of creation, sharing this podcast, sharing my voice, for me to be aware that I am on the path, and not saying that when you step into 3D that you're veering away from the path. Maybe that was the path. Maybe stepping into 3D vibration so that you can recognize when you are in 5D. So that being said, I hopped on here originally, but I wanted to start with this and talk about the ice raids. So 3 days ago, the ice raids really like started ramping up in Southern California, and it's literally in my backyard. Like, it's in LA now. If you're not familiar with where I'm located, I live in LA and OC, and I was like, what is happening? This is insane. Like, I see stories of people who are going to the courthouse and doing their paperwork like good citizens, and they're getting detained by ICE, even though they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then they're like going into schools, they're going to regular schmegular restaurants, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? This is insane. This is totally inappropriate. Insane. And 3 days ago, like, my nervous system got super activated because when I saw the protests and like how heightened the energy was with the ice raids, I was like, oh my God. And then I remember my daughter telling me like a couple weeks ago, because she lives in San Diego, she works at a restaurant. She said that an ice raided a restaurant less than 10 miles away from where she lives. And I remembered that memory, that piece of information she said. Like, in the moment, I was just like, oh, okay. And then it hit me. The reality hit me when all this stuff in LA was happening. And I was like, holy effing moly. Oh my God. And then my nervous system, like that, because I'm human, got activated. Mommy DNA, mommy instincts. Being a parent is insane. Like, it's really activating to the nervous system if something's happening to your child or you think there's some kind of danger. And I can't imagine these men and women who are getting pulled away from their children or their children being pulled away from them. I can't even imagine what that looks like, or I mean, what that feels like. I see the videos though. I see them with my own two eyeballs. People screaming for their children. Ah, very heavy stuff. So, because I believe spirit, universe, source, God, what have you, doesn't put anything into my field by accident, I was like, there's, of course, there's something for me to learn about this experience I'm having. My body's getting highly activated. And I breathed through it, and I was just like, I can't even think. I can't even think. And I was like, my nervous system is getting hijacked. And the only thing I could think to do was create and lean on community. So what did I do? I chose to write. I wrote about my feelings, and I wrote about how my experience in all that information. I chose to write a Substack, and it was a great way to color the picture of how our nervous systems do come first, how our body comes first. The power of what a regulated nervous system has for creating new futures. That's 5D consciousness, co-creation, unity, using your intuition, relationships that are conscious and soul aligned, being energetically sovereign. Your energy shapes your reality. So I was having an activating moment I was triggered. I could have managed my stress alone, go for a walk outside, what have you, but I was already on the tip of like replenishing my energy, and I was just like, I've been doing everything I could in my capacity, so I decided to lean on community. In fact, I was going to help a dear friend of mine with her child and send her Reiki, but I couldn't because I was getting activated, and I was like, I have to I have to put you on hold. And thankfully, we had another friend that could step up. So while she's being taken care of, that other friend decided to take care of both of us energetically and check in on us and all, what have you, and on my daughter. Thankfully, power of community. But notice I had to put the oxygen on myself first. Back to the airplane analogy, I had to put the oxygen on myself first. I was like worthless to anybody. I was too activated. Like, how could I do healing energy work if I'm like wired energetically and not in a good way? Like, activated, triggered AF. Like, it reminded me of this moment years and years ago in my 20s. I had to go through a custody situation uh, for my daughter. And I found myself surprisingly speaking in a very loud voice. And you guys hear me right now. I have a pretty mellow and chill voice. I didn't realize I was yelling at my lawyer, and I didn't realize I was having a panic attack. This is my first ever and only panic attack I've ever had in my life. So if I can experience that, anybody could experience that. Me being pretty chill for the most part my whole life. So we're experiencing this crazy time in LA right now. And thankfully, I have a community, everybody who took a moment to send me energetic healing, love, and prayers. Thank you. I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate your presence and lending your energy. And this is the power of community and the collective. I'm I'm so grateful from like the depths of my heart. And within a day or two, I was back online. I was able to come here and start writing again, like really writing, and now I'm recording again. I can, with my energetic capacity, in my emotional regulation, in my neutrality, in my objectivity, I can show up for other people where they can't speak. So, this is a message for everyone who identifies as a woo woo girly, a spiritual girly, or are metaphysical dudes out there. People who have the capacity for, let me put it this way, folks that have a regulated nervous system despite what's going on out there. I've been sharing this phrase on Substack for a while now, and it's the truest marker. The truest marker for abundance is a regulated nervous system in a chaotic world. Let me say that again. The truest sign of abundance is a regulated nervous system in a chaotic world. And for all my regulated friends out there, what are you doing with your abundance? What are you doing with your full cups? The next several years are not going to be easy. And it's all on purpose because we're shedding away the 3D frequencies. How are you showing up in your energetic capacity, your abundant nervous system? This is your abundance. What is it all for if we're not sharing that abundance with others? The abundance of your energy and your time and your presence. And at minimum, what is your aligned action when you see injustice happening around you? It could be like me. I just drop whatever in my family chat these days, like what I'm seeing. And like the terrible injustices that are happening in the world to our fellow humans. And I do that without shame or guilt. This stuff should not be happening. It's not right. It's not right. And I'm here. I came on here to say that it's not. There's nothing about this is okay. Nothing about this is okay. And maybe your aligned action is to tell your family that this was not okay. It's not okay to rip mothers and fathers away from their children. It's not okay to rip children away from their mothers and fathers. It's not okay to separate families. Trauma only creates more trauma. Trauma only breeds hate. Trauma is seeds for hate and division and separation. That is 3D frequency. All of those words. And in the 5D, because 5D is not something out there in the future, something that hasn't happened yet, it's something that's within us, something that is felt. How are we bringing love, unity, our intuition, our co-creation into this present moment to help our fellow person, whether it be sharing the truth, whether it be like me, sharing on my podcasts, whether it be emailing or sending a voicemail to your congressman or woman, or however, whatever gender, there's a lot of gender people out there now. And what if it looks like checking on your neighbors, making sure the people who do not feel safe to leave their houses, do they have food? Do they have water? Do they have their paperwork ready just in case? I was following this really great not divorce attorney, but an immigration lawyer on TikTok, and I'll link his profile, a part of this podcast episode. He has a lot of great resources and advice for people who need it, so they feel safe, so they have a home, so that they are not ripped away from their families. And please share this information. Information can be our sword to help protect us. Not saying that we're going to cut anybody, but maybe shield is a better analogy. What is your 5D aligned actions in this moment, in trying times? And some of you might be looking at the protests and saying like, oh, they're being 3D. They're not being high vibration. What happened to sacred rage? What happened to our sacred inner fire? What happened to our sacred anger? 5D, the 5D experience as defined here is, I am a soul having a human experience. I am a whole soul having an human experience, and then 4 lines down, it says, life is approached through compassion, surrender, and resonance. What is your heart-centered action? Just a few words and messages to tickle your brain today. Well, this is where we are today, so how are we going to show up today? I hope this sparks something inside of you, inspired you, or made your brain tick about how we live in our world moving forward as a collective moving forward. And if you don't know, I'm sharing this. I don't even know if I really share this, but paid subscribers get free Reiki from me. It's unlimited, but only limited to my capacity to give Reiki. Not that I'm getting a lot of people signing up for it, but all you have to do is become a paid subscriber to Substack and message me, and I'll set you up with an appointment. My booking links are down at the moment because I haven't been able to pay Calendly. I haven't been able to pay Calendly to keep that up. So you're just going to have to message me if you want some awesome Reiki. And honestly, like you just pay $7.77. It's like $7.77, and you can just cancel it and get your like free 30 minutes of Reiki. Like I'm not even mad at it. Like, do what you need to do. I'm here to honor your resources and your energetic capacity and your need to feel safe, and you feel like that you can only pay for the 1 month subscription so you can get free Reiki. You know what? Your energetic capacity in your nervous system is more important than my need for $7.77 on a monthly basis. I realized that I didn't want money to be a barrier for someone else's healing either. So that being said, if you really do not have $7.77, you can message me and I'll honor it through the honor system, and I'll send you Reiki, distance Reiki that way. Other side notes about my Reiki. My Reiki is distance Reiki, so it's not a face-to-face meeting online on Zoom or on a phone call. I send Reiki energetically from wherever I'm at to wherever you are for whatever your intention is. Let me give you examples of what that could be. You can literally do Reiki for anything under the sun, but here's some examples. Right now, I'm working on someone's broken bone, which is really interesting because I've never done it before, and it's really exciting, the experience my client is having with it. It's really cool. It reminds me of, it's giving me like Joe Dispenza vibes, honestly. And it's really silly, but it's something to notice. It's like, how come her bone is doing like really chill, but when I try to heal my eyesight, I can't? I don't have answers for this. This is just me like musing out loud. I can't, I like tried to use Reiki on my eyeballs, but maybe my soul just wants to be not 20/20 vision. What else have I used Reiki for? I've had people come to me for their pets, sick pets or transitioning pets. I've been asked to aid and give messages on transitioning loved ones. Um, People's sense of peace, heart opening, lots of root chakra. A lot of people needed a lot of help with root chakra. For some reason, kidneys came up a lot too. Like a lot of people or pets needed help with kidneys. I don't know why. Are you guys drinking water out there? Is this your message to drink water? What else do I have going on? Or what else have I worked on? I worked on someone's situation. Um, I had a client of mine and she was having a conflict with her neighbors. I was like, this is interesting. Let's see. Like, it's all an exploration, opening, and a curiosity for me. So and I said this in an earlier episode, when I don't believe it's possible, then I am not believing or denying universe's unlimited capacity. Whoa. Universe's unlimited capacity for what is possible. Let me say that again because I said that really weird. When I don't believe that this is possible, when I don't believe what is possible, or when I'm not open to what is possible. Actually, let me say it this way. When I believe that something is not possible, I am denying universe's or spirit or God's capacity for limitless possibility. It's a line I came up with lately, and it was like, it hits so hard. It's my favorite. Anywho, you guys, so whatever you think, if it resonates, don't ever feel like pressure to ever participate in any of my services, but it's like, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, basically free Reiki, $7.77. And if you don't have the money, I'll do it anyways. Okay. And it's only limited to my capacity to give Reiki. So I'll put the links in my Substack, and we got this, you guys. We're in it together. We are a collective. You and I are a collective, and we're gonna weather any storm. All communities are self-protective as long as we're joined in unity. Alright, guys. Love and blessings. Mwah. Bye.